Well, where are you in life? Are you where you're supposed to be? Are you somewhere that you can't even recognize the place? Have your dreams leveled off? Today we're going to talk about, are you willing to grow? Or are you thinking you know? HP. Are you in a holding pattern? You can't land. You can't take off. And you're low on gas. Too many of us have the formula IGT. Too many of us have that formula. We operate by that formula. I got this. I got this. And as long as you have it, nothing else can be done with it. It kind of reminds me of the story where 5,000 plus needed to be fed. Jesus asked the question. First he asked Peter, can we feed these folk? We don't even have 2 pennies worth. That's another way of saying, I got this. Based on my assessment, we can't do it. Somebody else said, well, there's a lad with a lunch. Bring him, Jesus said. The story goes on to say that he blessed it. He broke it and he gave it. And after all the people were fed, and it says, and he took up 12 baskets full. The people, until Jesus asked the question, the disciples, until Jesus asked the question, were in a holding pattern. They were hungry. The disciples, they were unwilling to grow, but thinking they knew. So, where are you? And when you think, this is one of the things that has exhausted the coach. It really, really has exhausted the coach. The very fact that so many people think that they want to grow but stay thinking that they know. You can't have both. If you always think you want to grow, then you must ask critical and you must be willing to ask the hard questions. And the hard questions always start with you. And the reason why you go no further than you is because you think you're willing to grow, but you're still acting like you know. And you know what? We have a lot of things out of order. A lot of things out of order. I tell you what, it's almost like the courthouse shooting. We have been under siege in our own domain. Someone comes in, protocol is not enough. The judge and his power and authority is not enough. The prosecutor sitting on the left or right is not enough. The bailiff that can take you in and out based on the judge's order is not enough for a lot of people. You want to pull your weapon. You want to throw your tantrum right there in the courtroom. That's how bad things have gotten. And a lot of you pull your weapons all the time. Every time something doesn't go the way you thought you knew, you pull your weapon. You pull your stun gun. You know what I was thinking? I wanted to share this thought with you. This is a thought that I had 20-something years ago. A very powerful and interesting thought pattern. Most of us, well, that's a very powerful statement and may come to the form of a question. Most of us are deceived. Most of us are deceived. If nothing else but about our own potential to grow. If nothing else, deceived about what we think we know. I'm not going to say what you think is true. I'm going to say what you think is true. I'm talking about what you think you know. Because truth is not finalized as truth until you are personally, intimately integrated with it. That's why one Bible verse says, you shall know the truth. Well, many of us, we're not talking about that today. That word know in the Greek denotes that it is a intimate. There's an intimacy. There's an into me, as Bishop Jakes used to say, there's an into me see. No, we ain't talking about that today because you wouldn't be able to handle that today because I'd go way off to the left. And you probably just push the button and stop the radio cast because you don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear that because you think you know. We think one of the reasons why if you Google Select USA TV and if you Google Marcus Select, and I got my share of problems, trust me, just because you're a life coach doesn't mean you don't have your share of problems. But one of the ways that I've been innovative is because I always ask God questions, not questions about what I'm going through and what I'm going to, but questions about how to do things. And I don't spend a lot of time with a lot of folks, and I don't read a lot of books to find out how to do something. I simply ask the Holy Spirit, I ask God how to do things. And a lot of times I'm stuck also in a holding pattern because, as I wanted to say a little bit earlier, if you're in covenant with someone, whether it be boyfriend, girlfriend, of course, marriage is the ultimate covenant, but whether it be parent, child, it doesn't matter what type of covenant because it goes across the board. Holding patterns go across the board. But back to my thought that I had wanted to share with you is that most of us are deceived and don't even know it. There's more to you than you could ever imagine. That's why he says, God says, if I'm going to, this is not a Christian program, but I'm a Christian. God says, if I'm going to answer your prayer, this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to answer a prayer of faith. And then I'm going to turn around and I'm going to do, and I'm going to exceed in you what you think, what you imagine. I'm going to exceed in you. So that means you've already got to be thinking. So if you think you know, then that you are parked in life. You are parked in life. You cannot move from there once you think you know. Arrogance and pride goes before destruction. I've said it 1,000 times. That's because it comes from a 1,000-year text, perhaps. Once you think you know something, see, and here's the trick question you got to watch out for. Folks around you may start acting like they're willing to grow. Don't be easily impressed by that. Don't be easily impressed by people who always boast or ask little questions and acting like they're willing to grow. Because when you're willing to grow, the first knife that cuts is the one that asks the questions. But the first cut is for one who asks the questions. And the first benefit of the healing is from one who went through the process to grow. Yeah, man, I got a lot on my mind, you could tell, right? Dude, we are so far off course. I gotta take a little break real quick. Okay, and I'll be right back. Can I do that? Okay. Y'all stand by.
Running around trying to find what's left of me. Running around trying to find what's left of me. I'm taking best on. Put up snacks for us. Cause you take more than you give. I'm running around trying to find my pieces. You take more than you give. Running around trying to find what's left of me. Cause you take more than you give. I'm running around trying to find my pieces. You take more than you give. Running around trying to
Well,
find what's left of you. Take
I know it's uncharacteristic of me to do that on the morning break. On the Coach's Corner. Just got a lot on my mind, man. We're in a holding pattern. A lot of people are in a holding pattern. You can't even. That's why I'm doing the consideration for the campaign for More for Life, because it's you got to be willing. You got to be willing to run this campaign, man. It you know what I mean. You can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time, because you just can't do it. You just can't do it. A lot of us are in a holding pattern. A lot of us in a holding pattern, and if somebody around you won't let you go where you need to go because they don't believe, or they won't let you go where you need to grow because they think they know. And most of us are deceived. And then we pass this crap on to our kids. And then we wonder why we got problems. I haven't lost hope or anything like that, but I'm telling you, who are we fooling? Then we go to church on Sunday to feel good because we feel so dang on bad. Who are we fooling? The cost of building community never changes. If it takes a village to raise a child, a village got to have some resources. If the village going to have some resources, somebody's got to be willing to sacrifice and willing to grow. And a few people have to be willing few people have to exemplify that they know. But when you got everybody in the village running around thinking that they know, ain't nobody growing. And the village is in turmoil. It's almost like a joke. Well, let's practice our jokes this month. Now we're going to celebrate the holidays. Wow. Really? Are you serious? So, I hope you don't have a case of I got this. The most dynamic twist of all time is the people who say they want something, and when they get it, they don't even know what to do with it. And the people that don't want it or weren't looking for it get it by way of gifting grace. Are you in a holding pattern? You can't land. You can't take off. And you're low on gas. You can't land. You can't go anywhere. You have to go in circles because there's too many I know, I got this headed toward